Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to our webinar on multi-cloud threat detection approaches using MCBTA. I'm Nandini Bharadwaj, the operating officer at CWL and your host for today's session. So let's start. At CyberWarFare Labs, we are committed to shaping the future of cybersecurity through innovative and hands-on learning experience. Our expertise spans across various domains, offering individuals and organizations the tool they need to build strong cybersecurity skills. Here are our key offerings. Number first is this niche cybersecurity labs, where user gets hands-on platform with theme cybersecurity labs designed to mirror real-world attacks and defense scenarios. User can launch these labs on demand, allowing a flexible, immersive trainings. And number second is this continuous learning infinity platform. Our cutting edge plug and play learning space packed with challenges across red teaming, blue teaming, and cloud security to elevate practical skills. Additionally, CWL also provides customized on-site trainings for organization and accepts bulk order for corporate upscaling. For inquiries or for more detail, feel free to reach out as us at support@cyberwarfare.live. So let's move to next slide. Okay, so now it's time to introduce our speaker for today's webinar, that is Hari Sutan S. He is a senior security engineer at CW Labs, where his passion for cybersecurity shines through in his work. With a strong interest in cyber defense, he is on the mission to bolster digital security and safeguard against the ever evolving landscape of cyber threats. So that's all about the speaker. And for our attendees, as a special thank you for joining us today, we are excited to offer 5 MCBTA course giveaway to the participants who will let us know why they deserve to win this course. If you haven't participated yet, I'll share the link in the description in the chat box so you can participate and tell us why you deserve MCBTA. So we will check and we will announce the winner as soon as possible. And number second, attendees will get certificate along with the video recording of webinar. And number third is PDF material for future reference. So we truly appreciate your participation and look forward for a insightful session together. Now, without further delay, let's dive in. So Hari, it's over to you.
Hello everyone. So hope my screen is visible and my voice is a bit clear. So can just anybody can confirm it. Yeah. So cool. Yeah, let's quickly start our today's session. So it's going to be a bit interesting about we will be majorly discussing about the threat detection approach, especially on the multi-cloud infrastructure. So if you get to see, we have done some similar webinars on the multi-cloud, like the emerging threats targeting the multi-cloud. So I will be personally recommending you all to visit that, so you will get a good understanding and ideology how the adversaries and attacks groups have been get performing the attacks targeting the multi-cloud infrastructure. So today's session we have two interesting stuff. The one would be we will be discussing about the threat detection approach, and we will be get discussing about the MCBTA, which has been get launched recently by the CWL team. So let's quickly start. So let me skip a few slides. So here is the table of content which we are get to be discussing today. First, we will be elaborately discussing the differentiate between the traditional and the cloud security approaches, and we will be discussing about the challenges which has been get facing by the enterprise over the multi-cloud security, and also we will be get discussing about the importance of logging and monitoring as in terms of cloud perspective. Finally, we will be having a interesting part like the event-based security insights. So here you will be getting a bit more understanding what are all the security like security event which we will be get focusing on in terms of cloud. So as we know that in traditional infrastructure we get to have multiple event IDs, but similar to the cloud, we to have multiple event-based security insights. So where it will be help you to prioritize the malicious activity. And finally, we will be uncovering the MCBTA. So we will be discussing a few importance about what is get to be included and what are all the true value of the MCBTA. So yeah, so let's quickly start by the traditional versus cloud security. So as everybody knows, the traditional way of security is get to be implanted over the enterprise. So by default, enterprise has been adopting this traditional security to get implement a secure infrastructure to get prevent from various adversarial threats. So we might have a question how the particular security implementation is get to be applied over the cloud. So before proceeding jumping into the cloud, let's have a quick recap about the traditional cloud security, traditional security. So traditional security is just a conventional method used by the enterprise infrastructure to prevent the on-premise environment. So we have included multiple defensive solutions like the SIM, EDRs, network monitoring, firewalls, and FIM to get proactively monitor the infrastructure and prevent from various cyber threats. So this is so we will be discussing a short summary about its particular approach, and we will be quickly jumping into the cloud security points. So, as you know, like in terms of enterprise, we have a huge infrastructure architecture where the enterprise has been adapting various servers, host machines, like database servers, and there is a huge set of on-prem setup which get to be deployed by the enterprise previously. So there is a huge threats which they have been constantly targeting to get intrude into the enterprise, and so to prevent that, like enterprise get to be adopting various detection mechanisms. So the first and foremost traditional security is get to be the SIM, so security information and event management. So it's a centralized logging and monitoring setup where the logs and events which has been constantly get collected over multiple host machines and servers, and dedicated security operation teams will be get monitoring it over the 24/7, and they too have a custom detection rule which helps in identifying and prioritizing various threats targeting the enterprise. So this is a base setup which the enterprise has been adopting in terms of traditional security, followed by for preventing the endpoint based endpoint targeted attacks like the malware, viruses, and other malicious form of attacks. So the enterprise has been started implementing various EDRs and XDR solution. So EDRs is, to give a short summary about the EDR, it's endpoint detection and response. It's helped to monitor the endpoints using certain agents. So it will be proactively monitoring for malicious file. So the detection is get to be based on the IOCs and IOA. On so if any virus or malware is get distributed to the host machine, so based on its behavior or its hash value or other pattern, so the EDR will get identify the malicious and contain that particular execution of malicious file. So the XDR is quite bit advanced than the EDRs because like the log visibility over the EDR, sorry, the visibility over the EDRs is quite comparatively low in terms of XDR because XDR can achieve the process level monitoring if in case the attackers are using high level attack techniques like the process injection or other pretty advanced technique to get evade or to execute the attack. XDR is the best option where the enterprise can get secure such sophisticated attacks. To get discuss about the network monitoring, so it's quite common, like enterprise will have a deploy like collecting logs from multiple network device like the router, firewalls, even the host machine to get identify is there any backdoor is get communicated over the host machine, or is there any unintentional network traffic is get to be happen. So as same as like in many enterprise, the network monitoring is also get integrated with the SIM, or they have a dedicated monitoring setup for the network based stuff. So as in network, we can majorly identify and detect various network targeted attacks like denial of service, brute forcing, or other measures. Majorly, even like to give a better example, the C2 targeted communication it's majorly get investigated and identified using the network logs and network monitoring tools. So on the fourth interesting traditional security tool is going to be the firewall, IDS or the IPS. So it's the network monitoring tool is get to identify those particular or invest. It will be get useful in our investigation phase, but in terms of prevention, so the majority of tool is get to be used as the firewall, IDS and IPS. Firewall firewalls or the even firewall get to have a multiple varieties of variant like the stateful, stateless. Even recently enterprise have started adopting the next generation firewall. So so firewall basically filter out the network traffic based on the rules or based on its behavior. It can be get prevent those malicious network communication. IDS and IPS might be quite similar. It's going to be get targeting and identifying any suspicious traffic or the pattern or the request. So based on that, it's going to either detect that particular activity or is get to be prevent that particular activity. So and finally the FIM. So file integrity monitoring is bit underrated, but it's became commonly used in many enterprise for achieving the compliance and audit purposes. Because configuration monitoring or configuration modification is quite higher, adversaries or the attacker might can modify or tamper the legitimate application to get prevent from such attacks. So the enterprise has been started implementing such file integrity monitoring. So the one which we discuss, or the traditional one, as many user has get to be working on the daily basis, or they have been more familiar with this particular one. So the majority of question now is, so what is the security which is been get implement over the cloud? So yeah, so before discussing that, let's have a quite let's discuss in terms of architecture overview. So as it seems like it's a traditional on-premise setup where you get to have a like multiple servers which has been get configured over the NAT or demilitarized zone infrastructure. So we will be get monitoring with multiple tools like SIM, EDRs and XDRs, network monitoring or file integrity monitoring. So this is how the traditional way of monitoring for the on-premise setup is get to be happening till now. So as I mentioned, there is still a huge question: what would be the security implementation in terms of cloud perspective? Let's discuss it. So as in terms of cloud security, it might be bit similar, but the services which we are going to use are being different in that case. So the 80 percentage of security is get to be implemented and achieved by the built-in cloud security offering. As you know, like there are many cloud service providers like the AWS, Azure, and GCP and Oracle. There are a lot of cloud service provider across the globe. So for each for each cloud security, they have been get offering various services as in like you if you get to taking the AWS, we have multiple security services like Guard Duty, Cloud Trial, CloudWatch, Security Hub. So there are a lot of different security services for achieving or get to be implementing a security over it. So till now enterprise, if an enterprise is get using a cloud infrastructure, they will be majorly depending on the uh, cloud native security service which get offered by their particular cloud providers. And the rest is the access management. So even in on-prem infrastructure, the access management plays a key role. So as we know, Generally, in terms of cybersecurity, we get to know that access control, access management, authorization plays a vital role in achieving a core security. As same as in terms of cloud, the access management plays a key role. So there are particular inbuilt services to assign or to get authorized to get access to those particular cloud resource, or it is the it access management plays a vital role in assigning the roles and privileges and managing the accesses over the to achieve the cloud security. Data protection and encryption. So the another major risk which might be targeting the cloud security it's been its accessibility. So the data protection and encryption plays a vital role, and again there are many inbuilt services like KMS and other services for their particular cloud providers has get providing multiple encryption standards to get protect their sensitive data. And finally, here comes the logging and monitoring. So, as same as our on-prem infrastructure, logging and monitoring plays a key role in cloud security too. Because, so as per my thought, majority of the threats or adversarial attacks is get majorly detecting based on the logging and monitoring. Even we get to have multiple other services like the incident response or threat hunting, but the initial triage, the logging and monitoring place is get to be identifying and preventing the lot of adversarial threat as compared to other cyber operations. So here too we get to have the logging and monitoring, but we might have a huge question how the logging and monitoring can be get achieved in terms of multi-cloud infrastructure. So let's answer those questions. So just we will be answering this particular question. So we if we have like just assume we get to the enterprise has been started implementing multiple cloud providers, and how the multi-cloud logging and monitoring can be get achieved. So we will be soon answering those for the answering that question for this particular problem. So before that, let's discuss about a few challenges over the multi-cloud security. So there are quite few challenges which the enterprise has been started facing in terms of adaptation of multi-cloud infrastructure. So the listed are some few challenge. The first and foremost would be the inconsistent security control. So as in terms of traditional infrastructure, the enterprise might can easily apply the security controls through their active directory, or it's just a if they have been it's just a single push which we can get to apply the security controls. But just assume if the enterprise has the multi-cloud infrastructure, they need to get configure each security controls over their respective cloud providers. It's been quite a bit complex, and there is a lot of chance of getting a human error or some misconfiguration. So this is get to be a huge trouble and huge challenge as in terms of multi-cloud security. And second most is being the complex identity and access management. So identity and access, as we discussed previously, access management and authorization plays a quite a huge role. Managing this particular over the cloud infra is quite complex because there are a lot of adversarial threat which is being get targeting over the misconfigured and highly privileged user account. So when it's come to a multi-cloud, so the user need to be get configured over it. So there are a lot of solution which has been get developed recently, but still it's get to be a huge challenging for the cloud security engineers to get resolve this particular complex identity and access management. And the third most is been the limited visibility and monitoring. So as I said, the logs has been get accumulated over their particular cloud providers. So monitoring and invest like navigating to their respective portal and investigating those might be quite complex thing for the proactive monitoring and detection. So configuring drift and misconfiguration. So the cloud is been get majorly running over the configurations. So there is a huge huge attacks which has been get targeting over many misconfigured user account or the services which has been get running over the multi-cloud infrastructure. So the cloud engineer need to be get constantly review the configuration which they have been get assigned over their particular services. When it's come to a multiple cloud, it's again going to be quite challenging for them. So the first would be the complaints and regulatory challenges. So the complaints, like as we know, like still there is a lot of uh, complaints and standard issue which has been get happening over the cloud, because the cloud is been get adapting with the shared responsibility module. So the enterprise might not get to own the entire infrastructure, but they can get to have some limitation over it. So due to that, achieving a compliance and regulatory, there is a bit challenging for it, because like just assume like enterprises get storing their client data over the particular cloud service providers. So if there is a breach, who is get to be the responsible for it? Either the cloud service providers or the users which get to be using the cloud providers. So by default, we know they know like as we have been get agreeing with the shared responsibility modules. When there is a data breach, it's been completely been handled by their user who's been get using that cloud provider. So cloud providers will not be get taking the particular one, like it's been get falling under the enterprise which get to be using that. So still there is a huge compliance and regulatory challenges. So there is a bit gap over that particular stuff because of the shared responsibility module. So the listed are some key challenges. So when it's come to the multi-cloud security implementation, so let's have a quick look of this architecture diagram. So if you get to compare both the traditional and cloud infrastructure, you get to see a whole lot of different, as we said, like in the traditional, we get to have a whole on-premise setup in our local infrastructure. So we can easily get monitoring those. We can just easily apply various policies. We can push we have a lot of visibility and control over the traditional infrastructure. But when we are get to be expanding, so in like the another major challenge which the enterprise might be facing is like enterprise are not get to be adopting single cloud providers. They have been adopting multiple cloud providers. For example, like they have been get using the EC2, like AWS EC2 for hosting their web services, and for the identity and access management they are get using the Azure, and for other resources like the cloud function, Kubernetes, and app engine, they have been get using the GCP one. So the visibility on their infrastructure has been quite enlarging us in us when it's come to the multi-cloud adaptation. So why the enterprise has been adopting the multi-cloud is based on their flexibility and the cost management. So some like the cloud function, like the function features might be get adapt over the GCP. It might be quite complex over the Azure. So enterprise started preferring using the GCP for the function, and the Azure is providing a good access management, the enter ID. So users are get to be using that service for their access management. So it's based on their flexibility. They have been custom configuring and elaborating their infrastructure according to their convenient. So as you know, like when the infrastructure is get to be scaled, there is a huge complexness of achieving security. So unless and there is another challenge, we don't get to see the architecture. We can get we infrastructure. We get to have up and running some multiple services. So here comes the huge question, like how we can implement a security over the multi-cloud infrastructure. So everybody might can think like by enabling the services over their respective cloud providers can be effective. So if I need to enable achieve the security on the AWS, we have some cloud native security service. I will be get enabling it for the Azure. I will do the same, and for the GCP. But still, there are a lot of there is a huge gap, like because the one would be the user need to be get constantly navigating to multiple dashboard to get investigating those, and there might be the chance of error. Even though we have a proper alerting and monitoring setup, there might be a bit like there will be a bit inconvenient on in terms of like navigating to the multiple cloud providers at the same time. So to achieving those like and the second major issue in this particular case is the cost. So each services is come, it's been get deployed over with their own price. Like if I'm just get using their security service, so there will be a huge set of cost which is get associated like when I'm just utilizing those particular service. So each comes with a huge complexness of cost and its particular risk. So here we need to like there is a one particular good way to get overcome and parallelly to get achieve the cloud security is get to be the centralized logging and monitoring, as we done in our enterprise traditional enterprise infrastructure. If we get to deploy and collect logs from multiple cloud service providers, and if we can get integrate with our own centralized SIM solution, and we can get to create lot of detection rule over it, and we can manage it centralizedly. So this would be the answer for the security approach. So that's why the logging and monitoring plays a crucial part in terms of cyber defense. So here are the few points why it's been get more important. So as we get to know that the logging and monitoring plays a critical component in a robust cybersecurity strategy. So 80 and 90 percentage of the enterprise threat is being get identified and detected in terms of logging and monitoring. So it typically involves in continuous collection of logs from multiple sources like the servers, host, and if we can successfully integrate with the cloud, we can also get to have those. And it helps to perform various analysis and investigation. So where the investigator might have a huge visibility over this particular set of logs, and we can get to review the events like as in terms of compromise scenario. We can it helps to proceed investigating and detecting the root cause over it, and it's helped to identify various threats, and it also helps in providing support to the incident response plan. So as we know, the base security is going to be the logging and monitoring. There is no denying that case. So it helps in, so as mentioned, like these are all the importance for the centralized logging and monitoring. So before proceeding further, as we know, we as in terms of traditional um, security infrastructure, we get to have multiple event IDs. So for login, we have a certain set of event IDs. Based on that, we will be proceed monitoring the suspiciousness. For example, if I'm getting the event ID which is get to be related to the login failure, so there might be the high chance it might be the password spraying or password brute forcing attack, or it might be the legit activity. The user might be get entering the malicious password. So there are huge set of possibility in that case, but we have some identification point. We might be performing event ID based correlation or log analysis, but we don't have such stuff over the cloud. So cloud is being quite differently configured, so it has a lot of API requests which is being get transferred from the user end to the cloud server end. So let us discuss a few interesting event based security insights, especially for the multi cloud infrastructure. For the AWS one, like we have listed a few security event name. So we it helps in identifying various threat detection approaches. So the first one is get to be the console login. So here, as I mentioned, there is no such case of event ID. So we will be get tracking over the API call which get to be initiated. So So the if we get to monitoring the logging and sign in activity, we will be get prioritizing the console login with the event outcome failure. So when we get to see the console login with event outcome failure, there is the activity that the user is get to be targeted with multiple failed. If we can add some multiple correlation point like for the time frame and other stuff to get identify the suspicious failed login targeting the console. And the second would be the create user. So like as in terms of cloud, if there is any misconfiguration which get to be assigned over the compromised user, the attacker can get create multiple backdoors user account as similar to the traditional infrastructure. So monitoring this particular create user API is been get helpful in various investigative cases as in terms of backdoor creation. So as we know, like this can be used for the legit purposes. When the legit user is get to be creating a user, it's going to be get monitoring those. But there are certain correlation point like the user, like the user account which get to be initiating the create user, which we can check the privileges. Is the person is get authorized to perform the create user activity? So we can add multiple correlation like from where it's get to be initiated, and is there any user agent is get to be involved, or we can even uh, like investigate the user behavior to get identify the legitimate and malicious. So the third would be the attached role policy. So we like whenever the user is get to be attached with the policy, this particular API is get to be triggered or monitored. So prioritizing such event is much important because uh, yeah, as in terms of privilege escalation, the user might using such a attached role policy for the user account or the role to get a higher privilege over the AWS infrastructure. So the fourth would be the delete user. So it will be falls under the evasion. So once there might be the case the after get to be performing various malicious activity, the attacker might can perform the evasion by deleting the users or deleting the resource. So it is also get recommended to monitor this particular API call and assume role. So it's quite interesting the assume role. There are a lot of adversarial techniques so which has been get abused using the assume role. So I will be recommended you to visit our previous webinars where we have discussed a very detailed and practical way how the assume role is get to be exploited for the privilege escalation. So we will be get monitoring the assume role and put bucket ACL. So it's nothing but when the private bucket is get to be modifying its access control. So there might be the high case the attacker might the adversary might can modify the private bucket which contain the sensitive information to the public one. By monitoring this particular API call, we can get identifying such activities and get object. So when it's come to the data exfiltration, we will be get seeing a lot of API calls from the get object from malicious IPs and other stuff. So the listed are some specific event name which we will be get monitoring as in terms of AWS security. So each has its unique threats. So by default, as we know that there is a high there will be the same law, same event name which get to be recorded for the legit application. So determining the true positive and false positive is get to be handed over the security analyst. So as I mentioned, there are multiple correlation point and use cases where the user can get identify the particular incident is get to be the malicious or the legit one. So let's discuss about the Azure now. So as in terms of Azure, so it might be quite um, similar. Like we will for sign in logs for the sign in activity, we will be monitoring the sign in logs. So as in Azure, we have a lot of sign-in method like console, non-interactive sign-in logs, interactive sign-in logs, CLI. So there are multiple way. So we will be get generally monitoring those. and you will be identifying any suspicious logging attempts get to be happening over it. So the say prioritizing the sign-in logs over the Azure are quite important because many enterprise has been get mm, integrated their access management via the enter id for their cloud providers. So it has been get more importance in terms of investigating the sign-in logs. So let me give a simple use case so as you know, people have been the adversaries have been stopped using the brute forcing technique because cloud services, like when there is a multiple fail attempt, the account will be get automatically logged, or 90% of the cloud account is been get achieved with the MFA. So there are a lot of restriction for the sign in, but there is a big chance the attacker, the adversaries might can use the alternative techniques like the password spraying or the AATM or the device code. There is a lot of different way to get the initial foothold with the cloud infrastructure. So as in terms of as we know, there is a chance the user might can be entering the fail login, might can perform the fail login. So there are multiple correlation point. As in terms of password spraying, we can get to prioritize the fail login within a certain time frame. We can set a threshold over it, and we can majorly check the user agent which is get initiating that particular login attempt. Because like majorly in terms of cloud, the browser based the browser is get to be the user agent. But if you are getting anything else from the browser, like if it is going to be a Python request, and there is a huge chance it might be the password spraying attempts. By using such correlation, we can prioritize the legitimate sign in with their malicious sign in. So these are all the few points. And we have audit logs and risky sign in. So these are all the again the API request and the logs which is been offered by the Azure. As in terms of audit logs, we will be get monitoring the app register, like the uh, app registration based stuff. We can identify if there any app registration is get to be created, like the backdoor setup, or the credential over is get to be restarted over the app registration, or is there any concern based access is get to be provided. So these kind of information or the event can be get identified with the audit logs. And risky sign in, by default Azure is get to be monitoring any suspicious signing. So if the user account is get to be signed in with a different geolocation, or if seems to be a like it by default Azure will be get identifying some suspicious sign in attempts. So then it will be falls under the risky sign in event. So by prioritizing those, like we can get identifying malicious sign in request and key vault secretary. So by so we know like the Azure is get offering the key vault service where the enterprise might get started storing multiple certificate credential over it. So there will be a limited access, limited users who can get access the key vault. If there are any access which get to be initiated from a general user or the non-authorized user, then it get to be a malicious activity. So we will be prioritizing, like we will be monitoring this particular one, like we will be prioritize and monitoring this particular key vault read, key vault secret read activity to identify such like data, secret credential dumping or others. So set security policy like as similar to the AWS. So there might be the high chance the attacker might can get get to achieve a privilege escalation with this particular API call. So we will be proceed monitoring those particular events. And add service principal credential. So if you get to know if you get to recollect the midnight blizzard attack where the attackers has compromised the app register user account which has a privilege to get modify the credential of the app registration. In such case the in such case like the even the legit user might can't it get to be restricted to access the app registration. And the user also get modified the credential. So the app registration is get to be the backdoor in that case. So like modifying the credential is need to be get to be monitored and verified with the particular user who's initiated it. So same as the update policy assignment. So the listed are some key events which we will be prioritized and monitored in terms of Azure. So let's discuss a few on in terms of GCP. So the GCP might be quite quite um, different from the Azure and AWS because the log visibility might be quite simpler. So for the IAM activity, so we will be having multiple sign-in and failure login. So it's also again based on the console and CLI based access. So we'll be get prioritizing those. The audit logins. So we'll be get searching any failed or malicious. It can be get identified. VPC flow logs is get to be monitor the internal network transferring where if there is any network related stuff which is get happening over the internal GCP infrastructure, then we can get found those particular stuff. And it also has a visibility to get monitor the data access, and we can also monitor the service usage for various like compromise and adversarial threats. So competence and set metadata is also one of the key factors we will be get monitor. So if you are really interested in exploring the impact of the particular metadata instance, so we have few interesting challenges which we have been hosted over our Infinity sites. So so feel free to visit and just check how the metadata service has been get exploited. So the listed are some key event we will be get monitoring over the GCP. So the one which we are been discussing till now, like are the challenges, what the enterprise has been get facing over the multi-cloud monitoring, and we have discussed a few solutions how the multi-cloud security can be get achieved, and we have also discussed a few interesting security event which in terms of analysts need to be get monitor for achieving their for identifying their adversarial threats. So here, so as I mentioned, still there is a huge gap. Like the enterprise has been still um, trying to get learn the entire process and how it can be deployed successfully. So we the team CWL has been get working on this for the particular past few years for answering those particular solution for us in terms of detection. So here we get to launch our multi-cloud blue team analyst, which has been get majorly focusing on cloud-based threat detection and centralized log implementation. So we have been launched recently. So this is one of the major breakthrough. If you have been specifically interested in exploring how the cloud security has been working and how enterprise has been start adapting their multi-cloud detection strategy, so feel free to get explore this particular training, so you will have you will get to gain a huge idea how the multi-cloud blue team is get to be working. So let's discuss a few interesting cases which we have included over our multi-cloud blue team analyst. So the listed are some few interesting fact. So it MCBTA is get to be suggested. It's get to be designed in the way of beginner friendly. So if you are interested in blue teaming, especially if you are interested in cloud security and cloud blue teaming, so this is a best choice for you because we have created in such a way it's going to be a beginner friendly content. You can we here we have classified into five major modules. The first we will be get discussing about the approaches how the enterprise has been adapting their cloud security, and we are also discussing interesting APT attacks, how the attackers have been get exploiting the multi-cloud infrastructure, and how a security implementation can be get deployed. So this is going to be the first module. In the module second we will be start deploying our monitoring lab, so where we have been up and running the one of the local server, and we will be up and running configuring multiple services over the cloud, and we will be forwarding those logs to our locally deployed SIM. So here in the module 2 is going to be a practical demonstration. You will get to learn a architectural security perspective as in terms of cloud infrastructure. You will be deploying a centralized SIM, and you will be configuring various services over the Azure, AWS, and GCP, and you will be transferring the live logs to the centralized infrastructure. So we have not stopped there. So we have also added various we have another local lab, which is get to be the investigation lab. You can directly get download the VM from the VM uh, once you get purchased the training, and you can get configured in our local machine. So once it's get to be configured, so we have get to be simulated in a realistic way. We have up and running two services. One is get to be the incident management, where incident management portal, you will be get logging. You can see 30 plus 15 plus investigative scenarios, chained investigation scenarios, where parallelly we are also configured the SIM over the particular local VM. So you will be accessing both the portal. You will be uh, get to have an idea about the incident, and you will be start investigating with the SIM which is being get deployed over the local VM. And we have a detailed, as I said, like it's a beginner friendly. So we have a video based instruction which helps you to understand how the investigation over the particular thread is get to be proceeded, and we are also provided you with the detailed documentation and the investigation queries which helps you to perform the actual cloud based investigation. So it's a multi-cloud targeted training. You will be get working parallelly with AWS, Azure, and GCP. So we have provided with the whole set of documentation. So where we have a documentation for monitoring lab deployment, and we have a detailed documentation for the incident investigation too. So the major part have been get discussed for the MCBTA. So the lab architecture. So this is the one like the monitoring lab architecture which we have been get to be disclosed, which have been get used in our MCBTA. So as we said, as in terms of monitoring lab deployment, we will be get setting up some a server or the EC2 machine. So once we have been get deployed, so we will be deploying the SIM service. So in our case, we will be using the Elastic. So you'll be we have a detailed instruction how it get to be set up over the particular server, and we will be start using the cloud account. So we will be start configuring the record services, and once it's get to be done, we will be proceed transferring those logs. So we will be repeating the same approach for the Azure and the GCP. So this is get to be our first lab, the monitoring lab. So where by the end of the monitoring lab, so you will have a very detailed understanding how the multi-cloud centralized logging and monitoring can be get deployed. The second would be the investigation lab. So it's going to be the local VM. So it's you can get download the particular VM which we have ingested with the pre-collected attack logs. So there where you can get to find AWS, Azure, and GCP indexes. But the additional features, we have two services. One would be the incident management and the incident investigation. For the incident management, we have you get to see multiple alerted incidents which get to be we have get to simulated 15 plus investigation or the chain attack investigation. Like you can see data exfiltration to S3. You can get to see the assume role based exploit. So we have get simulated the real use case adversarial threat, and we have get collected those logs. So you will be navigating to the incident management, and you will be get investigating those particular reported alert. So you as if you have been get starting into this particular cloud investigation, we have also given the investigation query. You just get to be copy paste, and we have given a detailed explanatory which will need to be get identified and how it get to be correlated. So this is the entire architecture, both the lab, the monitoring lab and the investigation lab, which you will be getting once you purchase the MCBTA. And finally the examination procedure. So the examination procedure is quite, it's going to be a quite fun and challenging one. So we will be get seeing directly in our like I will be giving a quick demo how the MCBT is get to be looked. And yeah, so it's quite simple, the procedure. So first you will be get enrolling, so you will be exploring the content. And we have a flag based examination for our MCBTA, and with the unlimited attempts over it. So you will be get access, you will be get provided with the SIM access. You will be tasked to investigate 30 plus incidents, so where you like once you get to have an understanding in our practical lab, so it's quite easy for you to get proceed solving the examination lab. So it's a flag based, so you will be based on the question, you will be start querying in our SIM, and you will be start submitting the flags. And we are also providing the unlimited attempts, so there is no negative points if you have been get submitting with the failed or incorrect flags. And you will be get earning the verified CWL MCBTA certificate. So the listed are some key insights you will be get benefited once you will get using the MCBTA. So as said, like we have 15 plus thread investigation, which has been particularly targeting the multi-cloud. These are all not a single attack. So we have multiple chain attack where you will be not particularly identifying. We will be also involved in determining the root cause for this particular incident. So we are also provided with the unified logging and monitoring for our multi-cloud infrastructure. And we are also been get practicing the cloud specific log correlation analysis and various investigation. So as in terms of our examination, we have 30 question 30 flag based investigation question with a gamified approach. It's not get to be a theoretical one. So you will be directly interacting with the sim, you will be start querying those particular incident, and you will be submitting the flags. And you will be also get access to our blue team cloud based network, so over the Discord, so where we can get to interact and discuss a few interesting cloud specific cloud blue team detection over it, so where you can enlarge your network over it. So let me quickly show you our the portal and how the MCBTA looks. So once you pre-purchase, once you purchase the MCBTA, so you will be get access to our CCSP portal. So you will be getting mails and details over it. So once you have been signed in with your register mail ID, so you can directly go to the My Courses and you can access the MCBTA. So here we have given with a bit introduction and the basic about what is like get to be over it and the architectural, so you can feel free to get explore it. So as I said, like we have majorly the five modules. Each has been get to be having multiple cases. Like the first would be like the bit introduction. We will be discussing about um, a basic introduction, how the what is been get included, and multi cloud blue teaming 101. We will be discussing what are all the cloud specific threat landscape, and what are all the attack and how the enterprise has been start detecting it. And we will be in the module 2 we will be start deploying a multi-cloud logging and monitoring infrastructure. We have a detailed documentation and elaborated information over it. And from third, we will be proceed configuring the required services over the AWS, Azure, and GCP. And from the module 4 we will be get to have our investigation lab. So you will be get to having the credential and other information which is required to set up the investigation lab. And finally we have the investigation, where you get to have multiple attack use cases with the detailed documentation. You will be proceed investigating over it. So this is the actual overview of the MCBTA. So these are all the modules which you will be getting as in terms of once you get to be purchasing the MCBTA. So let's quickly jump into have a quick overview of our examination. So as mentioned, So all flags is get to be the gamified one. So user might not get to be have any not to be worried about the reattempts or the negative points. There is we have been get provided with the unlimited attempts, and it's get to be the interactive based stuff. And additionally, there is no time constraint, so we don't get to be applying any time restriction over it. The user can get practice for the unlimited time. So once you get started the exam, so you can until you have been get completing it, so the examination will be get live. So here we have three modules: AWS, Azure, and GCP. So you can that directly log into the uh, stuff with the given with the provided credential. So once you get to log in, you will be get assigned with the logs, the required logs. So here you can find the logs which you have been get to be record for the examination. So once is get to be like we have been get created multiple index for the AWS. You will be get interacting and querying multiple events from this particular index, and you will be proceed solving the question which is related to the AWS. So this is the one which we have been planned today. So here we have been get discussed a few interesting threat detection strategies, and we have been discussed about our newly launched MCBTA. So what are the course inclusion and what is be a benefit of it. So that's it from my end. So if you have any queries, feel free to drop it over the so we have been ready to answer it. So I get to see a lot of questions. So yeah, let me answer it one by one. So the previous session we can get to find in our YouTube channel. So we have been get uploading every of our webinar, past webinars there. So you can get see the previous webinar. So one user has been particularly asked, can you provide a real world example for attach policy, assume role, and others? So as mentioned, so for the attack explanation, we have some previous webinars, and if you need to have a realist like the investigation for the same, so feel free to explore the MCBTA. You will be mm, get to have a similar similar use interesting stuff over our MCBTA infrastructure. So feel free to explore the LinkedIn, so where we have been posted our giveaway stuff. You will be asked to uh, uh, get to have a detail what need to be done in terms of getting the giveaway. So feel free to visit the LinkedIn page. So if you have any questions or query regarding the MCBTA or regarding the webinar, feel free to drop the question. This would be the best time. So I hope there is no much question. So let's wind up the session. And once again, thanks for joining. Thanks for your time. Yeah. So the recorded content will be get uploaded and shared with your participation certificate. Yeah. Thanks for joining. Yeah.